Welcome to my tutorial today. My name is Turgay Özcan. I'm a solution engineer in IBM and responsible in the DACH area for our product Maximo Real Estate for Facilities. And I will demonstrate you today a bit on the administration management part, so which contains the information about how you can create user, for example, and all these type of things just on a high level view. For the administration reason why I'm just starting with that is we have a professional tool with MREF which are used in more than 120 countries worldwide, which means it's a corporate tool which you can really use for every demand which you have in case of facility management or property management in general. The content today, what I will just show you is how we can create in MREF actually a user. This is more interesting for all the people who knows Trariga from the past, so the previous name of the product, so that you see how it's done now actually. The second part which I will just show you is how to update the data module and also a form which is then to be used for a daily work or in general. And then I will just show you also one very simple example about the workflow builder, how you can update or let's say create really from scratch a workflow which should help you to update a specific field in, for example, one of the forms which you have to create. And then as one of the last things is just how to upload the language packs if you have several other languages which you want to enable as well. Or if you have, for example, new fields, which we have just done here, how you can update them in a nutshell overview. This is the content which I will just show you today. Just a quick information about that. This is definitely a non-commercial video. This video should just help you to self-educate, let's say, parts, which means this should give you just an impression how the product works. And myself as a solution engineer will be, let's say, there if you have any deeper question, maybe you want to see something which is very specific, then I'm happy to support you in that case, just that I can show you these, let's say, some simple things as well. Now I will just pass over to the demo environment, just that we can see how these type of information will look like. We will start with the creation of a new user. For this, we will log in our environment. So what we have here is we have our username and then also the password. And this is our administrator who has the whole responsibility to do all the things like user creation, update every form and all these type of things. So it's really something like maybe most of you will call them as a power user, which we have. You will see the first difference if you know Trariga as the previous version, how the menu structure was, let's say, looking like. This on the Maximo application suite looks a bit different. So you have on the left part the whole menu, which are counting also the area for the suite, but also for every product which you are enabling from a suite perspective. We will just create now a new user. Here we have the user and also the security groups which you can assign to a person later on. So what we will do is we will just create a new user, which gives us a redirection to another page. And here you will see on the right corner, there is a create new user button. And here you have all the people who are in the system already existing, also with the entitlement and also with the status. Are they really, let's say, active or maybe deactivated? And also the access type, of course, that you have everything there. In our case, we will just create a new user. And the new user is, for example, Let's call them test RE, and the name is test. And here comes the difference, which we have not previously in it. So the person ID can be generated from a user ID using existing person, so which means it looks then really with the lookup in the people world which is existing there, or we say create a new person, which we will do now in that case. The person is test Tony, just an example, and we will give them just a primary email address, which is tony@testing.com. We have then here also the primary email address type, it's work or for any other thing as well, which we can just enable here. Then the user status, we will just keep both of disabled. User details we can just fill up front. So let's say it's testing manager. Then the first name is Tony test. And then some other information we can say +49, just the phone number, the primary one, and also the address if we have the preference. So we can also bring the language immediately in it. Default application is also something which you can just bring in if you know it, but leave it blank just for a, let's say, quick setup. Also the time zone, etc. We will update these things later on. Here we will just create then the username, let's say same as the primary address or same as a user ID, or we can also custom give them a name. So we have just told here test RE is our user ID, so we will use this as a login information, and then our custom is simply password and if we have this, we can also say send please also via email, just that we can receive it. But in our case, we don't need it because we are the people who are creating it. As next, we have the identifying, let's say, all the information which we need, and then we have the access and the licenses which we are just enabling. So we have the possibility to say concurrent or authorized user. These both security groups are important that we are in the position to create the users for Maximo Real Estate. And then what we have is, if we have, for example, authorized user, you can also enable these things from an administration point. Otherwise, you cannot implement them. And then the next question is, which type of a user you will, from a licensing perspective, you will provide these user. Let's make it simple as a base. And if we say recalculate the summary, so you will see also how many app points will be counted on this new user role. If, just as example, if we are changing it now to authorized, it was 10 app points before, also the base user. If we count it now, it will give you also the right number of app points which will be used for this specific person. We will just move it over to concurrent, and if we have done that, everything is there. Now we will say save and exit, and the user is now created. Test RE. So what we have to do now is the user is created but not activated. We will now log in with our actual user, which is the facilities administrator, in our environment. Now we are in the area of real estate and facilities. And if you look here, and again for all the people who knows Tririga from the past, The menu structure is very similar and has no surprises, let's say, in that case. We will just wait that here the user type and group bulk update will be created. So now we see, for example, Tony, which we have just created. Here also the user groups. And what we can do is, just from a perspective, we will just select Tony. Of course, we can also just open it. And then we have here the possibility to update some information, for example, type of the menu, then which type of a user will that person be. So we can just put it in consultant, external, or in the employees portfolio area. And then we have here also the restricted area for mask core, just as a, let's say, standard one. And we can also attach here new user groups, so which are the security groups which we have in our environment. We can just give that here, let's say, as a standard overview on it. And then of course you can just provide here few yeah, let's say few user groups accepted, and then you will see the rest here. And then we can just save and close. And then the user is activated. We should do also the same if you have more than just one person to activate. So you can just create in here the same what I have done before in, let's say, just one of the areas. And then you have here the home page, the menu, and you will select all the ones which you are assigning to it, and then review, and then you have the bulk upload as well. If I'm now open in incognito view, then you will see that we have the possibility to log in now with our user. Now we are again back on the login page. And now we will just create a test RE. This was our created new user. Password. We will just enter. And then we will log in the environment, and you will see the user is active, and we can use the person's specific logins and also functionalities which we have. And you see here everything which is related to that person. It will be published and seen here over the whole overview. That's the way how you are creating a user now in the new world of Maximo Application Suite. Just for everyone who has no real, let's say, touch points with the old version of Trariga, let me just show you quickly how it was looking in the past. So it was very easy because it was not a suite level like in Maximo, which is now. So within the portfolio, you are creating just the employee here directly, and that's it. And then you can immediately tell this is a user which will be now enabled as an active user with login credentials. So you are managing everything from here. But with the new environment, it is not longer the case because you have a suite and one user for much more functionalities. That's the reason why you have the entry point one level above on the suite level and not longer just on the tool level. This is just an example here, even ABBA, just that you see it, how it's, let's say, looking like. From a user profile, you have all details here in it. And within profile, you have the user ID. And in the past, it was the case that you can activate the user here directly and all the credentials you have here below. This was the first part of my tutorial. The second part is how we can update our data module and also a form. As an administrator, we have the possibility to go in the tool area where we have our form builder and also some of other information which we can just use in general to do all the functionalities. To show you now the next part, which is the updated model. So we have just seen the create of a new user. Now I will show you just the update of a data model and then of a form. For this, we are now logging in within administrator who has more capabilities also to go in the tool area to update the data model, the forms as well. We will, for example, create now for just as example. We have here a location hierarchy. We have here our standard demo view on it, which is, for example, here our Charlotte Watson Center. We will just open it here. And in the Charlotte Watson Center, what we will do is we will just create a new field which gives us a bit more information. So in the detail area, environment area. So we will just add a new field and we will call it simply test, for example. We will go back to our tools. And first of all, we will touch the data module. And the logic is always the same for every other part as well. So you have to find first the business object, which is in our case the location area, and within the location we have the building form. And the building data model has containing these fields in a simple word. And if we want to create a new one, you will just go on tools and you will revise the business object. After the revise, you will see here it comes up an add, find and delete portion in it. And just as a best practice standard, just that you can identify everything which is customized, you have the CST ones and you have the try ones. So everything which is customized have a CST, everything which is pre-defined as from Trariga is counted and start with a tree. Then you will give them the name and the type of the whole of the new field which you have let's say created. If it's a boolean, if it's a date, if it's a number, if it's a list, if it's a text. So you have all these several types which you can add there. We will just create now a new field. We are just pressing here add, and on the right side it will pop up a new property field. Here you have the possibility to select all the information, which type of a field it will be, then a name. We will call them CST test TX, and the label we can then also see as in text test text. We can also give them a description, and there are few other information which you can also enable. In our case, we don't have anything to add on top. We will just save the field, and if we have forgotten something, it will be notify us. If not, it will just save it, and on the left corner or left middle part you will see then our new field, which is now the CST test TX. That's the simple way how you are creating a new field. After that, we will just publish our business object, and if it's done, it will be locked again, so that you are not seeing the parts here. And then as next, what we will do is we have now created from a data model perspective the new field. And now we will just, after our login, we will create from here a new field in our form. After our data model, we will now enhance our form with this new field. For this, the same logic again. On the left side, we have the module, which is location. And then we have to find the right place where to add these new field in, which is then tree building in our case. You have here the whole form. Just as you can see what I was just mentioning here, all the fields which you see here, the tabs, it's here on the left side in this tree structure, and then every content which you see here is then part of this, let's say, overview. And what we will do now is we will just create here in the general tab, these are all the fields, just a new field. For this we have to revise our form. With the revise of the form, it's now editable, which means we can enter new fields in it as a new field. We can sort the fields, and also what we can do is we can create new tabs, etc. So you can do really everything now with the form if you have the right user in it. And then as next, we will just add a new field. And with the add of a new field in general, it will give us the information about which type of a field we have here. And you can also, of course, create action or field forms, but in our case, we will go on the database, on the data level, and then we can create, select from here the data field, which is mentioned, and we have to create the one CSD test text TSC. And you see also the label we can now, if we want, also rename. It depends on how we want to do it. And everything else can be there. We can also make it visible or not visible and readable, or also updatable. So in our case, we want to also use the field. If we apply it, it takes just a few seconds just to publish it here also in the form. And now you will see we have here a new text which is just created. After that, if we publish it, it takes just a bit time to publishing. If it's done, you will see it, because then it will change here the publish one also to revise. And then we know the publish activity is done. And then as next, we will just see here the form which we had before. If I'm refreshing now the page, it will give us now the additional field which was in it. And of course, we can also type here something in, A, B, C, D. We can save it, and it's also part of this form content which we have now here. And that's the simple way how to create a new data field, enhance your form with this new field which is part of it. After the publishing, we have then all information which we need, and then you will see it immediately also in the form that everybody can update these type of things. With that information, so we are now done also with the part of updating the data model and the form. And now it comes to the third part, which is then use a workflow builder to update the content. What that means in general. So normally if you want, for example, a bulk update or something like this, you need just an yeah, let's say a logic in the background how to do it. And for this we have here again in the application builder, in the tool set, the workflow builder. If we jump in the workflow builder, for these type of things we will just show you here on the tree helper. We will just create here a new field, which is then over the calculation helper. Just here we will just create a new field which will give us the information about what we want to update here in that case. The workflow builder is a very simple tool with no code information where you are creating your own workflows. You have here the starting point, the node, and here you can say if it's a synchronized one, subflow, or asynchronized one, if it's something which is just temporary or permanently to be used, and the module which you have, let's say, to be part of it. And then you have here the object type, which you can also use for it as well. So this is our starting point. And then we say, for example, if we have the tree helper, has also few information, which you can just use for, let's say, a bulk update on it. How a workflow will look like. So just as a simple example, let's use any of these parts. If we open, for example, this workflow, you will see how a rough workflow will look like. Just as you've seen it, the starting node will give you these type of information. Then the variation event will clear first the whole value which comes over, and then within the switch it comes to the information if this is set with monthly with this information, then it will go in the left part. If not, then it will go in the right part. What that means is if it's accessed, it will do these type of information. If not, it will go here and do again a new selection. It will look if it's something which is yearly, then it will go over this path and just do everything there. And what you have always in these type of things, just make it again here as a new one, is that you have here different type of nodes which you can just pass over, and it will give you then all the information which you need. Use queries, add childs, use associated records, modify a record. So these are things which you can just enable on a very quick way. And you will see here there are hundreds of different type of workflows which you can adapt for your own personal demands in that case. Now I will just show you as a last point for administration the language packs and how you can just use it and also relabel directly in the tool without huge involvements the whole language pack as well. For this we are just going back to our tools. In the tool here we have here the globalization manager. If we go in it, you will see then the whole language packs which are predefined, which are these ones. But on demand you can also enhance it by your own, let's say, purposes. you can just enhance the language packs. Just make it a bit simple. We have here all the modules which are managed there, and then you have here the target language which you want to see. If we look on the one which we have just created a few minutes ago, the new field is normally a blank one. So if we now look here on the tree building, we will see here all different type of fields which are in. You see it there. And what we will do now is we will just use our field in the module, sorry, in the tree building module. Which is just here. And we have the possibility to search here in the whole area, so with all the labels which are there. And you will see here all the labels which are, let's say, used for this module. We have just to find the right one. Which is this here, text. And you see here all the descriptions, and then we will just say here then the new name of the label, which is then in German, which we will just use for it. And then you can of course say something, whatever you want. Test Beschreibung. And if you are logging now in German, and if you see that field, it will give you this language description. And that's the way how you are doing these type of things on a manual way for each new field, if you want. If we save it, it's stored. The other way is you can export the whole package, translate it, and import it again back. Even this is something which is possible, and then you can just use these functionalities as well. This whole overview was just showing you few information, how all the administration parts will look like. And again, my offer, if you have any question, if you have any ideas, what you want to see on top, just reach out to me. Here are my contact details. Please let me know, and then I will try to support you and help you in all the cases. Thank you very much, and hopefully you will be part of my channel, and you will see in next also the other areas which I will touch. Just as an outlook for my next videos which I will just create, for every functional pillar which you see here, it will be a separate video which you can also again use for your self-education, for your learning, and for your impression how Maximo Real Estate for Facilities is working. And then hopefully it will give you the right information and to set whatever you want to see. Thank you very much and have a good day.